hand in hand with the non-conventional war that's underway, will inevitably lead to a climate of tension and conflict whose consequences are unpredictable. Mr. President, Cuba, as a small island developing state, has paid a high price for defending its legitimate right to exist as a sovereign and independent nation. For more than 6 decades now, we have resisted a ruthless and unilateral economic, commercial and financial blockade, which was ratcheted up to extreme unprecedented levels from 2019, and this continued during the pandemic. 30 years have now elapsed since the first General Assembly resolution against this blockade, and at this time the US continues to ignore the almost unanimous demand from you to cease its illegal and brutal policy against Cuba. Endeavors are still waged on the part of the US to create material shortages, to sow despair, disenchantment, and to cause damage to the Cuban people. The government of the United States is strengthening pressure on banking institutions, companies, and governments throughout the world that are interested in establishing relations with Cuba, and the United States continues to obsessively pursue all sources of foreign exchange coming into the country to bring about the economic collapse of the nation. As a result, the Cuban economy has withstood extraordinary pressure that are having an impact on industry, service provision, are leading to a scarcity in food and medicines, and are leading to a decline in consumption and a decline in the general well-being of our people. The human damage caused by this policy and felt by all Cuban families is impossible to quantify, but is nevertheless vast, cruel, and immoral. The blockade is an act of economic war in times of peace. The current government of the United States keeps in force the most aggressive measures of pressure on our country. These were adopted by the government of Donald Trump and remain in force. This administration continues the unfair inclusion of Cuba on the arbitrary list produced by the State Department of countries that supposedly sponsor terrorism. This slanderous classification of our country as a sponsor of terrorism stigmatizes our financial bodies and institutions and makes it extremely difficult for us to conduct transactions or to pay payments or access credit. Cuba has been a victim of state terrorism and does not promote, nor will it ever promote, terrorism. On the contrary, we condemn terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. The government of the United States manipulates opportunistically highly delicate issues such as terrorism, religion, democracy, justice, corruption, and human rights.